start soon. A warm welcome to our masters, Brother Huang, Hualien Dharma team, and brothers and sisters around the globe to Saturday Hualien Dharma talk. A very good morning. Let us start the session for today. Today, I would like to share a short excerpt master's speech. Resolute in the past, paving the way for generations. Master doesn't know when she will depart and return, but will find her way to the family she is destined for another, for among any of yours. This principle may seem profound, but it's actually simple. Everyone, maintain your initial resolve, strengthen your commitment to the path. Let's start paving the great path of Bodhisattva now. Finishing today's work, continuing tomorrow. If we wish paving in this life, we continue in the next. Paving the road generation after generation for our descendants to follow. Passing it down through generations. Making vows. Vowing to walk the Bodhisattva path for all lifetimes to come. 感恩 to Master's teaching. Now let us send our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Saha land be free from disaster and peace prevails in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere piousness.
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer. From all corners of the world, let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. May all the Buddhas hear my prayer. All united with one heart, let us end our hate with love. May there be no suffering hereafter.
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be disasters in this world. Now let us pray together for universal love and blessing. With loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a healthy body, an enlightened mind, and a total fulfillment in universal love. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. Let our unified love make this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing, let us invite our both masters to lead us in paying homage to the triple gems. Let us pay our respect for these teachings and explanations to the Buddha and Master Ching Yan by making three sincere bows. Please rise, palms together. First bow, second bow, third bow. And a bow to our beloved Abode Masters who could join us today. Okay, today we have two sharers. Brother Joe will be sharing on Dharma insights, and Sister Niki sharing on the Sending Loves through TIMA Relief Mission in Bintulu. Okay, before that, we'll invite Sister Su Ching for the weekly summary. Sister Su Ching, over to you.感恩.
Sister Lily. I'm ready to share. Sure. So last week we had our brother PJ from the US, but originally from Penang, which incidentally I'm in Penang as well. Okay, he said, Tzu is more than just an NGO, it is a family bond, supporting each other through losses that are beyond. Brother PJ lost his mother, although they have been distant for many years. And it is the Tzu family's brother, it is the Tzu's family of brothers and sisters who stood by close, calming his fears. Master's teachings guide, offering solace and care, urging us to spread blessings and stand as protectors everywhere. In life's fleeting moments, we seek meaning and grace, but it's in the service and love of others that we find our place. With each challenge faced and each tear shed, Tzu's warmth offers comfort where we're gently led. Master's wisdom reminds life's value isn't in strife, but in consciously living wholly and purposefully in this our brief life. And we have Brother Nadesh from Nepal, who spoke, in Nepal's peaks and valleys wide, Brother Nadesh helps with pride. From floods to quakes, Tzu gave, offering aid and lives to save. In 1993, floods swept towns away, but Tzu built homes that till today's day. In 2015, the quake struck hard and deep. Tzu's swift relief helped people their strength and dignity to keep. COVID came and aid was blown. Masks were made and hope was sown. Now, no matter what comes to shake Nepal's lands, Tzu still stands united with every ready helping hands. As a medical doctor, Brother Nadesh heals with care, but as a Tzu volunteer, he extends aid to everyone, everywhere. And for listening, stop share right now, and I hand over to Brother Chin to introduce our next speaker. Is Brother Chin here? Oh, okay. Brother Chin is not here yet. But Brother Joe, you are. Oh, Brother Chin, you're here. Okay, great. And over to you. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another day of Saturday morning sharing. Obviously, we are very glad that Brother Joe is with us. So, Brother Joe, the platform is yours, and we look forward to your insights.
Okay, thank you, Brother Chin. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Like Brother Chin said, it's another day here at our sharing, and it's always wonderful looking outside. The sun is shining bright, and the weather is this early in the morning is very, very crispy. It's not chilly, but it's It's got a little bit of wind. It's very comfortable. It's a very good autumn day. But yet, as we go more towards the midday, it gets hotter and hotter, and during the nighttime, it's really difficult. But I think that's exactly how the world or the life is giving us, right? There are going to be uptime and there are going to be downtime. And I think what Master is helping us is to make us see, or showing us, or letting us see that in our lives there are actually many things happening that we would otherwise not be able to realize. I think a lot of times that as we are going into the Sutra of Infinite Meanings for these couple past weeks, we're getting to see a lot of what the Buddha taught us in terms of how we can become all these role models, how we can become like the followers of 2,500 years ago, the disciples of Buddha. How can we be like them? How can we act like them? How can we think like them? How can we excel like them? How can we, improve ourselves, our characters, like they have done? And I think a lot of it comes down to seeing. A lot of it comes from looking at or witnessing what is happening. So Master, or at least what the teaching here in Tzu Chi is, you have to be able to see at least two things. And these are the things that the Master want us to see actively, okay, aggressively, or not in a bad way, but very, very progressively asking us to see these things. Number one is to see the suffering in the world. Like, you just got to be able to see these things, because without knowing that there are suffering in the world, without realizing first that there is suffering in the world, you probably would think that the whole world is probably just like us, like our lives right now, where the very basic thing, if you turn on the faucet, the water comes, right? The water comes on its own. And while that's true for most of us, that's in this circle, in this sphere, for most of the people on this world, this is not the case. It is not the case where the water just comes through the water pipe, and gets to your home. It doesn't work like that. So Master wants us to see beyond our vision, beyond our vision takers. Master wants us to see more than what we are accustomed to. And that is important. That is always important. Okay, so that's the number one thing that Master wants us to see. So number two, what is the other thing that Master wants us to see? Master wants us to see that there are some individuals who are actively trying to improve those people that are less fortunate. And Master wants us to see them, wants to see who these people are and what they're doing. And then you get to realize that now that you see the suffering in the world, now you are seeing what some of the people are doing for the people that are suffering. And then you realize that the people that are doing a lot, they're not better off than we are. Maybe they are less privileged, they're less capable. Maybe they're older, maybe they're younger, maybe they're, less educated, maybe they're more educated. But whatever they are, whatever their background is, they're doing these things for the people that are suffering. So Master wants us to see both the suffering and the group of people they're doing about these suffering. And so that there's a hope that when we see these, that we have a chance to elevate ourselves, to inspire ourselves. And that's what the point of seeing is, right? She can lead us. Master can lead us to see what's happening, but she can't lead us to retrospect, introspect, to think, contemplate. She can ask us to sit down and think, but she can't lead us to think in a certain way. However, she can try to direct it by showing us all the suffering and showing us the role models. Okay, so I think that's very important preset to sort of understand where all these things coming from. A lot of it is asking us to see and then leading us to contemplate. Because she can't contemplate for us, right? She can't just plant a thought into our mind. It doesn't happen that way. Master can only guide us by showing all these things, and then guide us to do certain things, and then at times of trouble, guide us so that we would think some way, we will learn and improve and elevate ourselves. That's what Master can do, but she can't just, go into your mind and say, think this way, think that way. You can't. Okay, so Master can guide us, but it's still ultimately up to us. And so how do you make sure that we think a certain way? Well, if you populate all around us these role models, if you always mention the sufferings, if you always think about what we are doing for these people that are suffering, then you are saturating our environment with the suffering and with the stories of these people who give of themselves. And then the more we do this, it's not just seeing, but it's also feeling the people around you, feeling the things around you. And then there is more chance. Okay, I'm not saying it's direct, or I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but there are more chances for us to find ourselves wanting to be like the role models. And then there is a chance for us to elevate ourselves when we are making a decision. There's a chance for us to make a decision that will put us on the path that is going to the right direction. Okay, so that is the whole idea, right? You can't make us think a certain way, but you can help us, guide us, and direct us to think, to process, to act a certain way. And that's what all this cultivation is about. Sutra of Infinite Meanings does both of that. So here we go, right? So previously, that was 2 weeks ago. Last week, I apologize. I was on the road at the time, and going to different meetings, different gatherings in Taiwan, and so I wasn't able to be online. But previously, 2 weeks ago, we've been talking about virtues forever, okay? And it is rightfully so, because it is one of the most important chapter out of the three. It has very important values in there. And so we broke it down into 5 different stages in this chapter, in this particular scope. And the whole part about it is that now that you are seeing these great role models, now the Master is guiding us to think, well, why do you think they're great? Why do you think they're great? And maybe there's time for us to contemplate, but here Master goes into, and Buddha, the Buddha in the sutra, goes into how they got to so great, their backgrounds, what did they do so that they reach their greatness. And we're talking about the disciples, and also the great bodhisattvas that are the followers and disciples of the Buddha at the time. So the sutra talks about these great role models of the past, right? They are following the followers of the Buddha. They have wonderful virtue. They are great role models. They have already accomplished so much. And so this section goes into, well, how did they get there? So this matches the part that I talked about. There are 2 things that Master wants us to see. Number 1 is the suffering. Number 2 is the great model. It's the people that are doing about the people that are doing for these sufferers, the people that are suffering. Okay, so how do they do this? Well, first of all, there is something that's called, you have to contemplate, right? You have to make sure that you uphold precepts, right? And so we talked about precept guarding against doing something unknowingly, right? There are many times, traffic law is probably the one thing that we got hit the most. Possibly, okay. I got hit with speeding tickets, I think twice, when I was in the States. That was a long time ago, more than maybe about 15 years ago, maybe even more, 18 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, when I was still very young. And I got, I think at least 2 speeding tickets. And there are times, when you might get parking ticket. I got parking tickets before too, in the United States. And a lot of times you park there without knowing that location isn't okay. And I remember parking in Taiwan, and the car was towed. And I went to Taipei. I parked the car there, and I thought that this is a one-day trip, so I parked the car there. And I went to Taipei, and I come back in the afternoon. Good thing it was in the afternoon, right? So I come back, and the car was towed. So I gotta call my friend to pick me up and drove me to the impound lot, and then claim the car, pay the fine, claim the car. Well, the problem is what? I didn't know. Had I known that spot wasn't okay, then I would not park there, right? So precept in samadhi is this idea, right? It doesn't want you to commit to something that you didn't know, because had you known, you would not have done it, right? A lot of time it's like this. If you knew that this wasn't good, you're probably not going to do it. And maybe for most of us, it's like a lot of things is like on the edge. It's very shady. It's not exactly black or white. It's a little bit grayish. But if you knew that this was going to bring about negative retribution, you probably wouldn't do it, right? So that's what precept does for you, right? Don't want you to commit to something because you didn't know. It wants to make sure that you know. It wants to make sure that you knew that when you do something like this, there's going to be some retribution coming. So now you know. Now, if you make the decision to do something, you are bearing the risk because you knew that this was not good. Okay, so that's what precept does. Samadhi allows us to be able to have this still minds, right? So the line he's drawn here is trying to tell you that between 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, there's actually a cause and an effect, where if you uphold the precepts and if you keep your minds clear and without delusion, then you will be able to achieve mostly what the followers and what the great disciples have done. So we're talking about samadhi, we're talking about still minds, we're talking about being peaceful and no delusion. So how did these great disciples, how were they able to constantly be in samadhi, right? In our world, this is nearly impossible. For every second, every 10 seconds, you're getting bombarded with a lot of information via your cell phone or your 3C product. All these things, right? Your cell phones, your computer, your online, your social media. You're getting all these information, right? So it's very hard for our mind to stay still. And to stay still, this is what the old days, right? In the old days, 2,500 years ago, peaceful, content, uncontriving, free from all desires. It is so easier said than done, right? That in this world, you're getting bombarded with all these things. And you have these advertisements that pop up. Maybe you're watching something and it pops up. And then all of a sudden, gets your attention, right? It gets your attention. And then you start thinking, well, maybe if you have that, it is not so bad, right? So right away, your very still mind is getting disturbed. You're now thinking about something that you probably didn't think about before, but now you are, because the mind is disturbed, right? So that's why I think that in this particular part, in the old days, 2,500 years ago, that the Buddha talks about meditative and still minds, like it's very simple and straightforward. Yeah, if you're able to sit in the forest and woods for most part of the day, thinking and chilling, yeah, I'm telling you, it's probably going to be a lot more straightforward. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a lot more straightforward than all of us today in this world, where we're getting bombarded with all these information and ideas and thoughts, right? But that's exactly why Master is giving us this path where we are able to reach the still minds, peaceful, no delusion, even in this world. No, the solution isn't to go into the forest and go into the woods and just try to be there and think about things. No, the idea is to to see the people that are suffering, and then seeing what the people are doing about these suffering. And then there's a way for you to contemplate, to retrospect, to think about yourself. Well, if they can do this, can I do something like this? And that was the whole idea, right? That was the whole idea. Anyway, so continuing on. So how do you reach the state of tranquility and still minds? And Master talks about the great past disciples. They're letting go of whatever they have done at any time, right? They do not attach to what they have done at all. Now, this is very difficult too. Master also talks about this, but she gave us a lot more easier ways to think about this, right? So imagine Buddha in the Sutra of Infinite Meanings talks about doing certain things, right? You got to lose some weight. If you want to be healthy, lose the weight, right? That's true and that's important. But how in the world do you lose weight? Master then breaks it down into smaller steps about what we can do to lose weight. So here, Buddha talks about let go of whatever thing. Do not be attached. That's very good, except it's very hard to do. So Master will tell us, this is what we can do to get there. So Master teaches us the 4 spiritual soups. Once you're done, right? Be content. Whatever the outcome, whatever the result, be content, and then be grateful. These are the things that we are grateful for. We're grateful for what other people have done for us, and we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to help other people. And that's what Master is giving us, the change of mindset, directing us toward what the Buddha said, that we have to, without any attachment to what we have done. Okay, so if you would think that the Sutra of Infinite Meanings set us many, many goals, right? Tell us that there are people that are doing great things. They're the great role models, and tell us how they got there. And the Master teaches us, well, it's good to know how the great ones got there, but we're not great ones yet. We're not even close. So we have to start from even lower standard. And that's where Master gave us the Dharma to tell us, well, how do you even get to become like them? Well, first of all, being content, being grateful, and then be understanding, and then be accommodating. And these are very, very simple and very straightforward ways for us to get to where they were. Okay, so and then very straightforward. Bodhisattvas in this world do not have desires of their own. They resolve only to save and transform sentient beings, right? So once again, this goes back to the 2 things that Master wants us to see. Number 1, the people that are suffering. Once again, if you do not see suffering, it is very, very difficult for you to have any thought or any resolve to try to help them. You would probably think, for the most part, that people are just like us, waking up at this time, eating this food, and feeling very hot during the weather, and that's pretty much it. But if you do not see the people that are suffering in the world, then you're just thinking that people just go through what you do every day. Well, that's not the case. For the most part of the world, people are not enjoying the life that we are. And when I use the word enjoy, I mean that even though there are many challenges and difficulties in our life that we're facing, but we're having it better than most people in the world. And so you need to be able to see their suffering, to be able to feel that we have something that's good, be content and be grateful, and then think about what we can do to help others, because there are great great role models, they're already doing something about them. Okay, so it always goes back to these two things: seeing the suffering and seeing the great role models that would allow us to slowly reach where the Buddha wants us to be. That these are the very important tricks that we can do to get there, right? So minds clear, vast vows, unwaver. So with minds tranquil and clear, vows vast as the universe, they remain unwavering for countless kalpas. And what this means is that the great ones are able to get there and making great vows. Why? Why were they able to make great vows? Right? Because they're constantly looking at people, they're suffering. Honestly, Master shared with us 5 years ago when Master talks about Mozambique, that there was a hurricane that hit them, and it was Idai, and it hit them, and all the things. And Master during the time had an eye surgery. So Master says that when she was able to open her eyes, she sees the bodhisattvas of the world, because there are a lot of people coming to see her. But when she closes her eyes, she sees all the sufferings in the world, in hell. And what does that mean? It means that for someone like Master, the life is complete, filled with all the sufferings in the world. And when you're always surrounded by the sufferings of the world, you are constantly thinking about what we can do for them. You're constantly thinking what I can do for them. And if we can gather more strength, more willpower to help them. And that's where you're going to be very clear in the mind, because you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about what we can do for others. And you're thinking about more and more. I need more strength. I need more power. I need more people to really break through and help these people. And if you don't do this, the suffering will gain more and more. There's going to be more and more suffering. So you cannot waver. So that's all the things that's Master is pushing herself. Master's pushing herself to get there. So she knew how to get there. So she shared with us how to get there. And she built a world where we can all be pushed forward, because the energy is there to help us push forward. Okay, so now finally we're getting to where we're going to be talking about this week. So once again, when our mind's clear, why is our mind clear? Because we're beginning to remove ourselves from desire. Remove desire from ourselves. What does that mean? It means that the more we're looking at the needs of other people, the less we're thinking about ourselves. Especially the needs of other people are so simple, right? So for example, if you are looking at the stories, or if you're constantly looking at the great billionaire, right? The very rich people, they're living their lives, they're driving their very good cars, and they're living in these huge mansion with all these gadgets and with all these things. If you're always looking and following those stories, then you are going to be looking up and thinking that I want to be like them. I want to drive cars like that. I want to live in a place like that. That's what you're going to be thinking about, right? Because you're always looking at these things. That's what the advertisement is doing, right? You are, giving you all these wonderful, models, and they're dressed up all in this fashion clothes. And then you're looking at them and you go like, well, if I dress up like that, I would look good too. Well, maybe for the most part, we're not going to be looking like them, but that's what our mind's thinking that way. So Master is the same way, right? Buddha is the same way, giving us all these role models, and you look up to them and you want to be like them. You want to become like them. They're doing so many things, giving service to all the people that are suffering. And then the more you look, the more you're thinking, maybe I want to be like them too. At the same time, you're looking at people that are suffering. They have a lot less than what you have. They're going through life in a lot more in a lot more challenging way. And then you look at yourself and you go like, oh my goodness, thank God or thank the Buddha, I have what I have. I have wonderful family who loves me, and everybody has good health, and we have all these materials around us that we're doing fine. Compared to these people, we're doing good. Then you become content. You become very grateful. And not only that, you're now willing to give because you see all these people that are in need. That's when your minds become very clear, because you're no longer thinking about yourself. You remove yourself from the desire list. You remove yourself from this desire. It's not the other way around. It's not removing desire from yourself. You remove yourself from desire, because the only thing that you desire now is you're trying to help these people. I wish they could get water. I wish they can get food. I wish they can get shelter. That's becoming your thought. So that's when our minds are clear. And then the more suffering you see, the more the more these great models, the great disciples, the role models that you see, the more you're inspired to make these great vows. So when you start to be on that path, you will realize that infinite Dharma doors will now be appearing in front of you. And that's when you gain great wisdom. Why? Because your mind's clear. Your minds are clear. You're not thinking for yourself. You're not thinking with this selfish greed, but you're thinking, what can I do for other people? You're thinking for other people. You're thinking more objectively. You're thinking logically, and you're able to do something. Okay, so that's the whole sequence. The sequence of things that are now happening. So Master talks about, because every person's abilities are different. They're different according to the desires and afflictions. So the moment that you are clear in your minds, then you are going to be free from the desires and free from the afflictions. Therefore, you are able to have all these infinite Dharma doors. And what does infinite Dharma door mean? It means different solutions will come in front of you. Imagine that you're stuck at the end of the road. At the end of the road, you are stuck. You don't know where to go. And there's no more road. And all of a sudden, two doors appear in front of you. And both doors lead to certain things. But when your mind's clear, you are able to see not just two, but infinite. There are many, many possibilities that you can choose to do. There are many, many possibilities that you can choose to walk through. That's the Dharma door. Infinite ways and infinite things that you can choose. And each one lead to a different result. But now your mind's clear and you get to choose the different doors. But before you're stuck thinking about the desires and the self-afflictions. So there are only maybe one, maybe there's isn't even any door appearing in front of you that you're stuck. That's when a lot of people feel stuck in their life because they don't know what else to do from this point on. There's no more road. The road comes to an end. But no, when your mind's clear, and Master teaches us how to clear our minds, how to reach samadhi, then infinite Dharma doors will appear in front of you. Okay, so that's what the infinite Dharma door means. And Master says that the Buddha's teaching are inseparable from worldly phenomena, right? They're actually the infinite Dharma doors that the Buddha talked about. What does that mean? It means that everything that we encounter, every problem that we encounter, it's another door. It's another challenge that we have to be able to face. And that's waiting. The door is always there. You just didn't see it. So you thought that you were trapped, but the doors are there, but you just don't see it, okay? So when your mind's clear, when your mind's settled, then you're able to see past all these disguise, and then you are able to see through and get to the door. Okay, so that's the sharing for today. And I would like to make sure that I recap all this. There are two things that Master help us, trying to get to the very simple things that Master teaches to get to where these great ones are. where they're at. Number one, they're both seeing. Number one is seeing the suffering in the world to realize that we're already doing much better than these other people, and so that we get content. We're content, and then we're grateful for what we have. The next is that seeing what the people are doing for these people that are suffering, and there's a chance that when we see these people give of themselves, that we'll be inspired, that we would also want to do something, that we want to become we want to become like them and become part of the organization, part of the group that are doing this. And through these two things, if you saturate your lives with all these things around you, chances are good that you will remove yourself from desire. You will remove yourself from thinking and wanting, because all in your mind, you're thinking and wanting how to help these other people. So when you're doing this, you become more objective. You're thinking clearly, and at that time, you have this clarity that maybe you are able to do more things for other people. So that is the trick, or it's not the trick. It's just it's not even a shortcut. It's the path that Master created for us in Tzu Chi, in this world, where we get to see more suffering, where we get to see more role models. Thank you. And I think the more we read into Sutra of Infinite Meanings, the more we're seeing Master wants us to see the suffering and the great disciples. Same thing all the time. All these. Master wants us to see the ITV, exactly the same story. The ITV, there are people that are suffering on TV, and there are people doing great things for them on TV. That's what we need to see. And the more we see it, the more chances of us becoming more objective, becoming more elevated, becoming more inspired. Okay, I hope that really help us solidify the foundation for the Sutra of Infinite Meanings. Thank you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful, and a very safe weekend. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Brother Joe, for the great insight of the great living heart, and also at the same time, the need to still our mind as a result. So perhaps maybe you can take a video first, a photo before Brother Joe leaves us. So if everybody can open up the video, we can take a photo.
感恩 Brother Joe for the awesome sharing. 感恩 Brother Chin for hosting, and 感恩 all the sisters all the brothers and sisters for the
Sister Niki in yet, Sister Su Ching?
Sister Niki, okay, let me. Okay, I'll get the...
Niki. Oh, is that? Yeah, she just logged in.
Okay. Sister Niki.
Okay, Sister Effie, you're taking a photo.
Okay, Brother Chin.
Okay, excellent. All right. Thank you again, Kadan Brother Joe. Now, next we have Sister Niki from Malaysia. And is going to share with us sending love through TIMA Relief Mission in Bintulu. And so I'm sure, Sister Niki, you're going to give us a heartwarming session of all the good work they are doing, especially, obviously, I heard a lot of work that the group has been doing in East Malaysia. Right, the platform is all yours, Sister Niki. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Sister Fu, Brother Joe, and everyone. Amitabha. Wait, can I share my PowerPoint? Sorry, give me a minute, yeah.
You want to share a slide, right?
Yeah.
You see the word share at the bottom of your screen?
Yeah, hang on. Yeah.
Yeah. Press on share and then select your slide.
Okay, then I share. The option, do I put share sound and optimize video clip as well?
No, you go down, right? You put your cursor down, all the way down. You see the icons that come on. And you see the green button says share. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yep. Excellent.
All right. First of all, okay. Yeah. Okay, I start my sharing now. Sorry for the delay. Yeah. Okay. My sharing is about my recent trip to Bintulu, the medical outreach. Okay, wait. Okay. Let me have a short introduction of myself. I am personally not a fashion designer, not a healthcare professional. I'm actually a fashion designer by profession. So I'm at the other end of the industry. I'm in the creative instead. So I joined Tzu Chi since 2009. I volunteered at the Pudu Clinic, Kuala Lumpur as TCM assistant since 2012 to 2020, just right before the pandemic. So during the pandemic, because Pudu Clinic is closed, so I helped to distribute face shields to doctors in my community and also volunteer at the Jingse Hall PPV for COVID-19 vaccination. And then I've been to a few medical outreach. My first one is in Cambodia, 2016, then Bintulu 2018, and then Taiwan 2019. Then the pandemic hits and everything stopped. I actually made a promise to myself that if because I know that medical outreach will open up this year, so I made a promise to myself if I am being invited to one, so I will definitely go. So Bintulu was the one, so I went. And then besides being a medical volunteer, I am also a photographer in the Ren Wenzen Sunday team. Yeah, so this introduction of myself. Okay. So basically, we started our journey on the 20th of July. We fly to Bintulu, and then after that, we start our road trip to Lusung Laku. Sunday was the medical outreach. So this time around, the medical outreach is only one day. And then Monday, we come back to Bintulu. And then Tuesday, we fly back to KL. So basically, the whole trip was 3 days of traveling and only 1 day of medical outreach. So this photo here, most of the photos here are taken by Dr. Huang. He's a very good photographer, and then some of the photos are mine. So you can see the photos here. This photo here, we are actually fooling around before our flight. We are waiting for our flight. And then okay, we have before the trip, we always have pre-trip meeting. And then the first meeting, we have two meetings. The first meeting is for the Xiao Zhang. So during the pre-trip meeting, we were briefed about the condition of the place and everything else. So we were told that the place is very isolated, and then it's basic living facilities, especially the toilet. And then there is no mobile signal. And then the journey spans about 195 kilometers on tarmac road and 50 kilometers off road. So as you can see on the map, we landed at Bintulu, and then we travel all the way to Belaga area, and that is about 255 kilometers. So we were told that 195 kilometers on tarmac road takes about 3 hours plus, and then 50 kilometers off road also take about 3 hours to 4 hours. So you can imagine how bad the road condition was for the 50 kilometer out off road. So it took about 8 hours. About 8 hours. And then but during the second meeting, pre-trip meeting that is for everyone, we were told again that it will take about 12 hours to reach Lusung Laku, because the convoy is really huge. So we have to, it will take some time for everyone to reach that place. So 12 hours is a very, very long journey, especially on bumpy road. And then I don't know, maybe it's my imagination and everything. During the Zoom meeting, I can sense everyone's silence, I can imagine everyone's reaction, because when I heard the journey is about 8 hours plus, I was also very shocked. And because I don't know if my body can take such long hour of bumpy road. But then again, there's no backing out, because I've already booked everything, booked my air ticket, everything else. So I just went ahead now. And then let me introduce a little bit about the Penan tribe, which the villagers are from the Penan tribe. They are very nomadic, ingenious people living in Sarawak and Brunei. They hunt and gather food. So whatever they hunted on that day and gathered on that day, that is what they eat. The village we went to is located at Lusung Laku, Belaka district. Sorry, population is around 500 to 600 people. Actually, I think the elderly population is quite low. Most of them are young, about 20, 40 plus to even children. So the villages are relatively healthy, because less than 10 people out of the population do not have the tree high. Oh, sorry, no. Less than 10 people less than 10 people have the three highs, like the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar. So I think it's because they eat very little processed food, I guess. Whatever they hunt and gather, they just eat. There is a clinic kesihatan, the government clinic in the village, but the doctors only fly in to the village once every few months. Once every 2 months, I think. And then due to its isolation from the city, if there is any emergency case, the patients have to be transported out to the city hospital. So basically, the village have very little access to healthcare. Okay. We started our journey on the 20th, and then once we reached the Huisuo, as you can see the photo on your right hand side, that is where we gather, and then we pack our lunch and water for the long trip. And then after that we adjourn to our designated 4x4. So I took some motion sickness pill just in case, because we don't know what to expect. So and then the road trip starts at 11 a.m. So there's about total of 87 4x4 cars in the convoy. The picture on the left is my right partner, Dr. Tong. She's a dentist. So in the car, there's only me and her and the driver and co-pilot. So 4 of us in one car. So the journey to Lusung Laku is very bumpy, especially the off-road. The tarmac road itself is also quite bumpy, but still it's okay. But then once we got off-road, it's especially bumpy. So just to let you have a feel of what it's like, please look at the video at the right-hand side. Yeah, so when I took this video, I didn't know that we are actually at the cliffside. So it's quite scary, but we trust our driver, because they are very experienced in it. And also, as you can see that whenever we overcome an obstacle, we have to wait for the car at the back to overcome the obstacle, just to make sure that, you know, the people at the back is not left behind. If they encounter any problem, then they will have to stop and help them. That is their understanding. So so the photo in the middle is where we stop because one of the car broke down, and then all of us have to stop and wait. So as you can see, some people just you know got out of the car, take some photos and everything. But actually, beside all the bumpiness lah, I was able to get some sleep as well because first of all, because I was very tired, I woke up at 2:30 a.m. just to go to the airport, and then also because I took some motion sickness pill, and that made me a little bit drowsy. So once I got used to the bumpiness, the rhythm of the bumpiness, I managed to get some sleep, you know, here and there. You know, sometimes I'm being awakened by, you know, a huge jolt, or maybe hit my head on the window or anywhere. You know, then I woke up. But most of the time, I get to rest a little lah. And also, this is my first time going into the jungle of Sarawak. So it was really beautiful, especially during the sunset. So I am very grateful, you know, to be able to witness the beauty of the forest there. And then our journey continued till the nighttime, and it was a very, very long journey. So while we were, you know, driving, no, the driver was driving, and then suddenly he said, sudah nampak lampu dah, and then like, I can see the street light. So you're like, okay, we are nearly there. But more than half an hour later, we are still on the way. And then the driver even said, hey, I thought I saw the light, but how come we're still not there yet? So apparently, you know, it's still a long way to go because of the road. It's very bumpy, and then it's not tarmac road. And also the road, that forest used to have a lot of deforestation. They did a lot of logging. So but then now they stopped logging, and then the road is actually very unused. So it became very wild with a lot of big rocks and everything. So that's why the road condition was very bad. But luckily, thank God, it didn't rain, because if it rains, then, you know, they may have landslide, because I also see a few landslides here and there. So, but the weather was good to us lah. So we reached our homestay at 11 p.m. So it's a total of really 12 hours. And then once I reached my homestay, you know, I just took my shower and went straight to bed without dinner, because I was very tired and I just need my sleep. The next day is the medical outreach. So, you know, the photo on the right is our setup. It was the medical outreach was held in the classroom. So we had a classroom for TCM, and then we have also some separated small rooms for men and ladies who needs to lie down, you know. And then usually during medical outreach, TCM always have a very slow start. So in the morning, there was not a lot of patients. That's it. And then the picture on the left is the group photo of the whole TCM team. So basically, there are 4 TCM doctors, 3 TCM assistants, and 2 usherers from the Sarawak team. Okay, during the medical outreach, I always think that, you know, dental and TCM, either one of our department will always finish the last, because both will always end up having a lot of patients. So dental will always have a lot of patients. So in the morning we had a very slow start. So during lunch, one of the volunteer, Sister Chia, was asking me how was things in TCM. I said, oh, it's quite slow, not a lot of patients. Then she was like, really? Then can you come over and help dental, because we have a lot of patients, we don't have enough volunteers. Then I said, maybe after lunch we'll see lah. We'll see how it goes. And then after that, after lunch, suddenly there was a lot of patients coming in. And Sister Chia came over and she was like, hey, I thought you said there's not a lot of patients. I said, I don't know. Suddenly all the patients decide to come in the afternoon. And then I think it was because some patients, a lot of patients tried out TCM, because in medical outreach, a lot of people they don't know what TCM is. So they won't choose to try out TCM, but usually the triage will recommend if there is any backache or whatever ache, they will definitely refer them to us. So at the start, they refer these people to us, and then they try out TCM, and then also the 4x4 drivers as well, and they feel that it works and it helped alleviate their pain, and then the words got spread out, and then villagers go back home and tell their family and friends to come over and try out this TCM team. And then 4x4 drivers also spread around and say, hey, TCM, I've tried already, it's good. And they came back. Then suddenly in the afternoon, there was a lot of patients. So one patient, he had he couldn't lift up his hand. So when Huang did acupuncture on him, and then while the needle was still on his hand, Huang asked the patient to lift up his hand, and he was able to lift up quite very high. And he was so surprised. He said, "Ini magical, is this magic?" Because suddenly he can lift up his hand. So I think it actually worked and helped alleviate his pain. So after that, we see a lot of 4x4 drivers coming in. So as you see this photo, very beautiful photo taken by Dr. Wong, of Dr. Huang from Bintulu, doing moxibustion and also 电针 on the patient. And on the photo on the left-hand side is me, taking a needle out of a patient's head. So usually we will use cotton bud, to suppress it, to make sure that it won't bleed, especially on sensitive area. So basically, TCM had a total of 94 patients, which is quite a lot, considering each patient take about half an hour for the whole procedure to finish. And then by the end, we finished at 5:30 p.m. And yes, we are the last department to finish. So but I think by 5 p.m. we still have quite a few patients waiting in line to get consultation. So Huang from KL, he saw, because I was very tired, and then he saw, and my face was very red from the heat, and he saw, and then he asked me if I'm okay to continue. I say, yeah, continue on. I mean, I come all the way. I'm okay. Just finish all the way. No matter how many patients we've traveled so far to give our service, just have to go ahead. And we managed to finish all the patients. Okay, the journey back to Bintulu. So the next day we packed up everything, and then we depart for Bintulu. So in the morning we have some time after breakfast, so we decide to walk around outside, and then we came across a dead. Apparently, there's a dead volcano over there. So the land is actually very fertile, and we came across this pepper farm. So me eating pepper all my life, but I've never really seen a pepper tree. So I was, really excited. And all of us were very excited looking for the pepper, the actual pepper. So yeah, we walked around, and then the air was very fresh, and it was really green and peaceful and serene. Then after that, we went to we adjourned to Ong Pejik. This Ong Pejik is quite famous actually. It's actually the Niagara Falls of Sarawak. So it's a very huge waterfall, very majestic, and it's very long. What the photos here are just one part of the waterfall, and this waterfall is actually located at the school where the medical outreach was held. So we were there, and we went there and we took photos and just to admire the scenery for a while. And the main objective is to take a huge group photo of the whole team for of the outreach. So this waterfall is really is actually very beautiful, but the only thing is the water is a bit murky because of all the deforestation, the logging that was done. And then halfway through, we had lunch in the nature. So the 4x4 team decided to stop by at our mini waterfall to have their lunch. So we also had our lunch in the nature, which is really nice because we living in the city, we don't really get to do that. I mean, I don't really get to do that lah. And then we also witnessed how the 4x4 team managed to pull a truck out of a tough spot, which is something is my first time experiencing. And then as you can see in the photo at the bottom, that is my my Apple Watch reading. So somehow by 1 p.m. I managed to achieve 13,000 steps and burn about 1,000 calories. And I didn't do anything but just sitting in the car. So the road was actually road condition was actually way worse than the day before. Most probably because of the amount of cars that went in. So the road condition became a little bit different. And then coming back out, the road become even bumpier. So that is how I achieved my 13,000 steps and 1,000 calorie. I hope that I really did burn that much life. And then we reached our hotel at 8:30 at night. So we started our journey at 11 a.m. and we reached at 8:30. So it's shorter than the first day because a lot of time they say that the convoy can actually move on its own. We don't need to go back together. So we just went straight ahead back to Bintulu. So once we reached Bintulu, we had a really warm welcome. The warm welcome in the sense that we were given a bowl of mee sua with very delicious, warm, hot soup, vegetarian soup. And even though the food is very simple, but after traveling for 8.5 hours without much food, because we did pack our lunch, but that's about it, and some snacks. But I don't really dare to eat much or drink much in the car because all the way through there is no toilet. So in the off-road, if we need to go to the toilet, we need to just do it at the side. So but because of that, I don't dare to drink much water. So once I got to the hotel and see this, it was really, really warming, to see the mindfulness of the Sarawak volunteers, their yongxin. And then the meal was very delicious. Even my right partner, Dr. Tong, she was saying she's so grateful and feel so 感动, feel so touched by by just that bowl of mee sua, because like I said, we've been through a very, very long journey home. So yeah. Okay. This is the homestay and the living team, 相继and 生活组. Okay, we stayed at Peter's homestay in Lusong Laku. We actually, the owner Peter he donated 2 days out for us, for Su Ching to stay in, for free. So we get to stay there for free. So I'm also very grateful because that place is actually the owner actually redo some parts of the homestay to make it more accessible, better for us, So we have really clean toilet, although it's very basic. It's a very, very basic facility. We even have to brush our teeth and wash our bowls outside, squatting down, So I remember on Sunday, the medical outreach day, I was washing my bowl outside, and then I see the full moon. So it's a very memorable experience, to see the full moon, and then washing my bowl out there, and then listening to the morning sound of insects and everything, and also a dog looking at me washing the bowl, questioning me, like what am I doing there? So the place, actually, the way we live there reminds me of Hualien, my Hualien trip, which I also miss very much. And because it's a big communal place, all of us just sit wherever there is space. So then once we get ready, we get to mix around, chit chat, catch up with each other, and then also because there's 150 of us, so and there's only 6 toilets. So I have to wake up very early, about 4:30, 5 a.m. just to use the toilet. So yeah, that's why it reminds me of Hualien. And also because of the camaraderie of the whole team, which is very warm. So the picture on the left is the kitchen area and also the toilet area. And then every morning, I wake up at 4:30 a.m. But when I wake up, I already hear, the sound of chopping boards. So the Senghuozu and the Xiangji actually woke up way earlier than us, just to prepare food for us. When I hear the sound of the chopping board, I feel very comforted. I feel okay. There's someone out there to preparing food for us to eat. And I have to say I'm very grateful to the Xiangji because they wake up earlier than us and they finish later than us, because they have to prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner, tea, supper, and then they have to prepare the food for tomorrow for us to tapao and everything. They really work non-stop. So I am very, very grateful. I remember during the Bintulu trip in 2018, one of the four-wheel drive driver, our four-wheel drive driver, he said he was very touched by the Xiangji as well, because it's not easy to to cook for 150 people or more than that. It's not easy to cook, and every morning they wake up, they have food on their table already, and he was very touched by the Xiangji, and I think this round I'm also very touched. And then as you can see on the picture on the left, some of the four-wheel drive driver volunteered to be in the team cooking for us as well. And then on the picture on the right, the sisters are actually about 80 to 70 years old. So the sister with the white hair, she is actually 80 years old. Okay, and from what I heard from Sister Yi Yong of Sarawak, she said they actually put a age cap on this trip. So only 65 years and below are allowed to travel because of the long arduous journey. But the 80-year-old sister, she said she don't want to think. She said she insisted to go. She said she still wants to go. But of course they allow her lah, because I think because she insisted she wants to go, and she is actually the pioneer of the Xiangji in Sarawak. So she said, but this time around she actually went and mentored the new generation, because she said she wants to teach the new generation on how to do Xiangji. So seeing them, they look very they don't look tired. They still join us for sharing. I say, you just never cannot in 30 you cannot say I'm old and I cannot work, I cannot come out. So that is, I think that's not an excuse. And for me, when I see them, I'm like, okay, if they are not complaining, I should not be complaining also. So power to the sisters. They are really very kind to them for mentoring the new generation and cook nice food for us to eat. And then, of course, one of our heroes are our 4x4 drivers. So I am very bad at names. I actually forgot the name of our driver and co-pilot. The one in red is our driver. So on the day when we come, all of us get to have some sleep, on the way to Lusung Laku. He is the only one who have to drive 12 hours non-stop. Okay, they only stop for a toilet break or whatever break, but he drove 12 hours non-stop. So really, very grateful for them to, to send us to our destination safely. And apparently on that day, the next day when we go back to Bintulu, both of them, after sending us to Bintulu, they have to go all the way back to halfway in Balaga of our journey to Lusung Laku. He has to go back halfway, and then he show us the place where he worked. So it's actually on the tarmac road. There's an entrance into the forest, and that forest takes up another 2 hours for them to reach that place. So I said, oh, then every day you drive like that. Every day you have to go through all this road. He said, yeah, every day. So it's like a very natural thing to them. So then he said, because they didn't know that, it will take so long. So they didn't take leave at the next day. So what they have to do is, after sending us back to Bintulu, they have to rush all the way back. And then he told me that, by the time they reach their workplace, it will be in the morning. And then after that, they will have to go back to work again. So I immediately say very, very thankful that, for their contribution. And then I asked him if this is his first time joining, this kind of charity mission. He said, yes, it's the first time joining the Balaga team on charity mission. So I asked him, so if next time, if Tzu Chi have another medical outreach, will you join? He said, yeah, sure. Then I said, okay, then I will see you again. Yeah, so very grateful for them. The word grateful is just not enough, because to us they play a very important role, because without them we are not able to go through the whole journey, with their expertise and everything. So in order to appreciate them, Tzu Chi Sarawak presented them a painting of a volunteer to this main coordinator of the 4x4 teams. So the painting depict the 4x4 team doing the Tzu Chi mission in Sarawak rural area. So it's actually a very nice water painting. And then on the picture on the left, you see that one of the car actually broke down later at night. So they have to fix it on the spot, and then this car actually reached the homestay at 1:30 a.m. So our car is not the latest. There's another one which is 1:30 a.m. Okay, then after the whole trip is done, I went back to work, and some of my colleagues was asking me about my how was the trip, and some was asking where did I go, and then I shared with them my experience. And one of my colleagues actually asked me, said 12 hours of bumpy road is no joke. And then if it's so arduous and so strenuous, why do you all still want to go in? And I was quite shocked by the question actually. Then I said, well, they can't come out because they don't have the means to come out. Then of course we have to go in and help. We are capable of going in to help, so we go in and help, and at least for a while we are able to help alleviate their pain a little bit. And by this answer, he looked very shocked as well. He's like, oh, okay. And then I also shared a video of by the Reverend Simei of the whole trip to my another colleague. And in the short 2 minutes video, she noticed one thing. She asked me, everyone seems to have a smile on their face. Then I said, I actually didn't realize that also, because I'm so used to it. So, oh yeah, actually we do. All of us, just smiling like very happy-go-lucky during the trip. I said maybe it's because we are happy to be there. We are very grateful to be there, and we are very grateful to be able to contribute in any way we can. So I guess after helping people, the happiness comes from the heart. That kind of happiness radiates through us, and that's why all of us are on natural high. We don't need anything else. We just need this to help us to be very happy. So with that, I would like to end my sharing with a Jingsi aphorism. Giving without thinking about the pain or trouble is great compassion. To give one's labor and service happily is joyous giving. I think this Jingsi aphorism really sums up my whole trip, and seeing the great compassion and joyous giving of all Su Ching volunteers and the 4x4 team is it's a very good experience. So yeah, that's about it. Cảm ơn.
And then so much, Sister Niki, for a very inspiring sharing and your journey on this loving work that you do in Bintulu. And as I was listening to you, I think the few lessons we have learned from your sharing, despite the difficulties ahead, right? 8 to 12 hours of journey, that didn't stop you. And so it reminds me of our spiritual journey on the ground. This is we are in the ground of practice. This is a Saha world, and you've taught us we got to endure through this journey. The bumpy road that you face reminds me of the becomings of a life that we have to face, and we must not be rattled by whatever comes. And the point that you made about, well, you're worried. Obviously, then you took the car sickness pill. So, therefore, to overcome this, we have to take our own Dharma pill, right? To overcome whatever becomings that we have. The other point, you said along your journey, and you saw the beauty of the jungle, and that resonates with me a lot. Why do you feel? Why do you see the beauty of the jungle? And really, that is the beauty of the purity of nature.
Yes.
So the beauty of the pure nature, which we in the city we never take it for granted. So you reminded us that the beauty of the pure nature. And then lastly, that I learned from you towards your end is you took the photo with the whole group by the so-called Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And you all come together, and reminds me that what Master taught us, that to do this, walk this path, we need to have the four and all-embracing virtue. Obviously, the fourth one being collaborative work. You all come together with charitable giving, beneficial conduct, and loving speech to get us all together to overcome this and do all the good work. And when your friend asked you, why do you do this? And it was a shocking question to you. You know what? That is the moment of awakening for you.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Shannon, so much for all the great sharing and the lessons that you have shown us to how it can resonate so well with the Dharma. Okay, all right. So, are there any questions coming from the floor? Okay, if there's no question, that's all we have for this Saturday sharing. And again, thank so much, Sister Niki, for the heartwarming and inspiring sharing. And with this, we didn't take a photo with Sister Niki earlier, so if we can have a photo with Sister Niki, open up the video. Right. Everyone bright and cheery on a Saturday morning, and it's going to be a very busy day for all of us. Okay, who can take the photo? Maybe
Oh,
Sister
okay. I'll
Effie?
take. Oh, Sister Effie take. Okay. And then so
All
much
right.
he said, he didn't know you have wondrous magical hands. We only know you as photographer. Wow, now we know you're also TCM assistant.
Oh, yeah.
那加油，真的是 very not easy lah.
Yeah.
After our trip to Indonesia, we know that off-road is not easy.
Yeah,
Learn
it,
to be
it's
we learn to
very
be an
grateful for the
octopus lah.
opportunity.
In Tzu we always learn to be an octopus lah.
All right.
And
So
so
Karen,
much.
so much.
Very chin.
And I will see you next week. And for some of you, I'll see you later in the morning. Okay?
Bye, everybody. 感恩祝福，拜拜。